Hello NBA fans, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more basketball content. Today, we're taking a look at the flip side of greatness, diving into the top 5 worst NBA teams of all time. While these squads may not have had winning records, they certainly left their mark in NBA history. Well, in a not-so-good way. Starting off on our list, we have the 1982-83 Houston Rockets. This team's season is a textbook example of a disastrous NBA campaign, winning just 14 of their 82 games. The Rockets ended the season with a dismal winning percentage of .171. This was one of the worst records in NBA history at the time. A combination of a lack of experience, ineffective leadership, and subpar performances led to the Rockets' downfall. They consistently struggled on both ends of the court. Their offense was disorganized, they shot poorly from the field, and their defense was often lackluster. The 1982-83 Rockets had lacked the necessary star power to compete in the league. While they did have future Hall of Famer Hakeem Olajuwon on their roster, it's important to note that this was his rookie season, and he was yet to develop into the dominant player he would eventually become. The rest of the roster was filled with largely unproven talent, leading to a severe lack of consistent scoring and defensive presence. The fallout from this disastrous season had repercussions for the Rockets. They ended up with the #1 pick in the subsequent NBA draft due to their poor record. This allowed them to draft Ralph Sampson, a talented center from the University of Virginia. Sampson, along with Hakeem, would form the Twin Towers, leading the Rockets to much better seasons in the following years. So while the 1982 and 83 season was a low point for the franchise, it did set the stage for future improvement. To summarize, the 1982-83 Houston Rockets were a perfect storm of inexperience, lack of star power, and underperformance. Their 14-68 record stands as a testament to their struggles. They were indeed one of the worst teams in NBA history, making them deserving of their 5th place in our list. Coming in at number 4 are the 2009-10 New Jersey Nets. The 2009-10 season started with a bang for the Nets, but not the kind any team would hope for. A mind-blowing 18-game losing streak right out of the gate set an NBA record for the worst start to a season. This demoralizing start led to the firing of head coach Lawrence Frank, but unfortunately, the change didn't spark the turnaround the team needed. The Nets roster was a mix of young talent and veterans, including Devin Harris and Brook Lopez. However, injuries plagued key players, and the lack of a clear leader on the floor led to a lack of cohesion and anemic offensive production. The team had the league's worst defensive rating and the 3rd worst defensive rating, leading to their terrible win-loss record. The emotional toll of the season was evident. The players' frustration and disappointment were clear both on and off the court. The morale was low, the stands were often empty, and the team struggled to compete on most nights. The season finally ended with a 12-70 record, the 3rd worst win percentage in NBA history at .146. This horrible performance placed the 2009-10 New Jersey Nets squarely in the conversation for one of the worst teams in NBA history, deserving the 4th spot. However, the silver lining was the opportunity to rebuild, leading to some key draft picks and a foundation for the franchise's future success. Coming in at number 3, we have the 1992-93 Dallas Mavericks. The 1992-93 season was a dark one for the Dallas Mavericks. The team finished with a record of 11-71, earning them a poor .134 win percentage, one of the worst in NBA history. In fact, they started the season with a horrendous losing streak, losing their first 6 games. A major reason for the Mavericks' struggle was their lack of talent and expertise. Their top scorers were Derek Harper and rookie Jim Jackson, who, while skilled players, weren't enough to carry the team to victories. The roster was filled out with young, unproven talent and veterans past their prime. Adding fuel to the fire, the team was riddled with internal strife and mismanagement. Disputes between players and management led to a negative atmosphere that permeated the locker room. There were also numerous questionable decisions by management, which included trading away key players and struggling to build a well-rounded team. The team was also plagued by injuries throughout the season. Key players like Roy Tarpley were sidelined, further weakening the roster. This made it even harder for the Mavericks to be competitive, let alone notch up wins. So with a lack of talent and experience, internal strife and mismanagement, and a series of unfortunate injuries, the 1992-93 Dallas Mavericks secured their place as the 3rd worst team in NBA history. However, it's important to note that they used this season as a stepping stone, learning from their mistakes and slowly building a more competitive team in the years to follow. Next on our list at number 2 is the 1997-98 Denver Nuggets. The 1997-98 Denver Nuggets had an incredibly rough season, winning only 11 games while losing a staggering 71. This gave them a winning percentage of just .134, just like our Dallas Mavericks previously mentioned. One of the biggest factors contributing to their disastrous season was the lack of talent and experience on the roster. The team was in a rebuilding phase, with most of the players being young and inexperienced. Their leading scorer, LaFonso Ellis, averaged just 14 points per game, which was not enough to compete with the more powerful teams in the league. Another major issue for the 1997-98 Nuggets was their coaching instability. The team started the season with Bill Hanzlik, a rookie head coach. After their dreadful performance, Hanzlik was fired, which only contributed to the team's lack of stability and consistent direction. On both ends of the court, the Nuggets struggled. Defensively, they allowed an average of 104.5 points per game, ranking among the worst in the league. On the offensive end, they averaged only 92.2 points per game, also among the lowest in the NBA. This stark differential highlighted the team's inability to stop opposing teams and to generate enough offense themselves. While the 1997-98 season was a low point for the Nuggets franchise, it also served as a wake-up call. Following that season, Denver began to make significant changes, investing heavily in their scouting and player development departments. This would eventually lead to the drafting of talented players like Carmelo Anthony and the construction of more competitive teams in the years to follow. And finally, at number 1, we have the 1972-73 Philadelphia 76ers. In the 1972-73 season, the 76ers won only 9 out of their 82 games, a winning percentage of a meager .110. You may be asking, how's this possible? It was a perfect storm of unfortunate events that seemed to cloud the team. Key injuries, a coaching change midway through the season, and lack of experience created a cocktail of disaster. One of the significant issues that the 76ers faced that season was a talent drain. The team lost several key players such as Billy Cunningham, who left for the ABA, and Hall Greer, due to injuries. These departures left a void that the remaining roster couldn't fill, with rookies and lesser experienced players carrying the burden. Midway through the season, head coach Roy Rubin was fired after a devastating 4-47 start. His replacement, Kevin Lowry, despite having a successful coaching career later, couldn't steer the sinking ship, finishing the season with a 5-26 record. The 1972-73 76ers hold the record for the longest losing streak in NBA history, a demoralizing 20-game skid. This, along with numerous other short losing streaks throughout the season, severely dented the team's morale and confidence. The season was painful for players, coaches, and fans alike. The team's leading scorer, Fred Carter, described the experience as a nightmare that never ended. The squad's lack of cohesion, scoring inability, and defensive ineptitude had experts labeling them as the worst team ever. But it's also important to remember the resilience of this franchise. The Sixers eventually rebounded, winning an NBA championship in 1983. This serves as a reminder of the cyclical nature of sports, where today's underdog could be tomorrow's champion. So there you have it, the top 5 worst NBA teams of all time. These teams serve as a reminder of the ups and downs of professional sports. From the struggles emerge opportunities for growth and change. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these teams. And if you think any recent teams should be added to this list, don't forget to drop your comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, remember to give us a thumbs up and share it with your fellow NBA fans. Thanks for watching.